Whenever people ask me if God exists and is love, then why doesn't he stop the suffering? I always reply to that with a 3-letter question. How? How should a God of love stop all the suffering? I completely understand their question, and I've often wondered it myself. And it's easy to point the finger and, blame the one that you think should do something about it. But when I found the answer to that question, I saw that generally when we're asking that question and are easy to blame God, we're actually overlooking something that's pretty crucial. Because to end all suffering, you would first need to know what causes the suffering, right? We don't just want God to treat the symptoms, because if the root problem is still there, it'll just come back again. So what causes a student in a school to be shot, leaving their family heartbroken and in mourning? It's another person. What causes a young woman in the park to be raped, being scarred for the rest of her life? Another person. Okay, so I guess then God will just need to remove those people then, right? Problem solved, no more suffering? Well, that depends. How much suffering exactly do you want God to end? What about loneliness and depression? It's a kind of suffering that's getting more and more common these days. But what causes it? Do you think it can have anything to do with people being so focused on their own lives that they don't see the needs or take the time to care for the people around them? What about sickness then? That would be incredible if that would end. No more hospitals? Wow. But did you know that most deaths and sicknesses are caused by our lifestyle? People choosing an unhealthy lifestyle, which isn't only destructive to themselves, but even through their genes, it impacts their kids and their kids' kids. Okay, so what about broken families then? That also causes a lot of suffering in our world. Could that have anything to do with parents having anger issues, choosing their careers over raising their kids, fathers who are addicted to porn, mothers being impatient? We can continue talking about natural catastrophes or poverty, hunger, bullying, discrimination, but I guess you get the point. The bottom line is, what is the cause for the suffering? We are. The human race. The problem is actually in us. And this is the result of something that the Bible calls sin. Now, you might have heard that word before, but not really know what it is. Simply put, sin is behavior that is outside of the created design. And what design, you may wonder? I don't know if you know this, but it's quite extraordinary. In the opening chapters of the Bible, the first thing it says about God's intention with the creation of humanity is that God made us in his own likeness, like a mirror. He actually says that 4 times in just 2 sentences. He really wants you to know that you are designed to be like God. That means that you and me, and we as humans, we're made to be selfless and loving, honest, trustworthy, loyal, and smart, and patient, and humble. And I can go on, but just imagine a list with all the good characteristics out there, and that list was supposed to describe you and me. Can you imagine being known for all those qualities and nothing negative? That is what we were made for, and that is how we find happiness as human beings. But what then happens when you do something that is not in that list, that is maybe even against that list? When we lie, when we're being selfish or prideful? Well, what happens when you put petrol in a diesel car? It'll break down, because it's not made for that. In the same way, sin, doing those things that are not in harmony with these beautiful positive characteristics, it breaks us down. You and me as individuals. But more than that, it breaks down the whole human family. The way we're supposed to live together, engage with each other. And it even breaks down our planet. So back to the question that we started with. Why doesn't a God of love end all suffering? Because he doesn't want to eradicate humanity. It would mean we're done for, we're gone, we're out of here. Now, I think we can agree with God that that doesn't really sound like the preferred solution. Another solution would be he could force every individual to simply comply by a set of rules so we cannot even engage in destructive behavior. Who needs free will anyway, am I right? You see that ending suffering is pretty complicated. Especially when you find out that God is not the problem, we are. And here's the thing, God doesn't like suffering either, but he likes you and me. And in this video, I will show you that because God likes us and wants us to be around, he sacrificed a lot to make possible another way. A way to completely eradicate any trace of human suffering, yet still be able to save us. But there is something that you gotta do. That's why you're gonna want to watch this next video.